Hello, interwebs peoples! Yes, this is actually the voice of the imaginary deviant artist called Catherine Pendragon. I actually do exist! That or y'all are mass hallucinating, in which case you should probably go see a doctor immediately. Okay, well, in any case, and I apologize for my horrible voice, you're probably wondering why I'm even doing this. Well, it's simple. I'm getting semi-annoyed at being asked the same exact question at least once a week, and I feel like people really hate giant blocks of text, and really, I'm tired of repeating myself over and over and over and over again with the answer. And this is also fun, because it'll make you guys suffer with my horrible rambling in stereo instead of just in text. Okay, that and I'm kind of bored right now, so recording's fun. Anywho, this amazing question that everyone in the world keeps tossing at me? Well, the answer is probably not. Can't say a definite 100% no, because you know how once things are on the internet, the ideas are fair game. Not that that's fair, but yeah. And I'd say a definite 99.999 whatever percent that it's a no. They did not steal my idea for Operetta. The name Operetta has been copyrighted by Mattel since 2005, maybe? I don't really know, I just know it's been since before the line actually came out. It's been trademarked just as long as Howlin' Wolf and Frankie Stein have been too, just for the record. So for all we know, the Mattel designers could have been working on her design since then, and we're just waiting for the opportune time to finally release her into the continuity. Her first appearance was in Holt's journal. Holt came out, fall 2010 maybe? Depending upon where you lived. I got my Holt high towards the end of December, beginning of January, but I'd read about his journal online, and that's how I first discovered the lovely diva called simply Operetta. Thus, the beginning of my Monster High fandom. Being the hula shipper I am, I wanted a way to break apart Operetta and Holt, but I didn't want her to be alone. So thus I created my OC Lucas Helson as a friend for her and a potential love interest. To me, the way she was described in the 4 sentences Holt talked about her, and my own ideas of the Phantom of the Opera and what a classy diva were, led me to a certain way I pictured her. So I made Lucas to complement that vision. However, the more I developed Lucas, the more I wanted to see him interact with Operetta. But I knew the canon character would appear one day, and I was trying not to contradict that. However, I kind of failed. My first drawing of Operetta was posted on DeviantArt on December 26, 2010. Her design was a really basic one, and I hadn't intended to keep it because, like I said, I was waiting for the canon character to show up. But she did have a few traits I saw her having, like the white skin, the beauty mark. The rest, though, was partially from me watching Beauty and the Beast while I drew the picture. I totally love that movie, so seeing her as Belle kind of worked since she was also French. But really, I hadn't intended to use the design at all. However, in January 2011, I ended up having a spare Drac Yalara doll from Christmas that was slightly defective. You know, the early ones had the scaly arm problem because the black mesh was bad quality or whatever. So I had her around, and I had planned to customize her after successfully having made my Lucas and Vanessa dolls. And one day, I happened to be in my local Kmart when I spotted the perfect live wig for the vision I had of Operetta. So I bought it and did up my doll and created her very first official illustration, which was posted on DeviantArt February 23rd, 2011. Again, though, I hadn't intended her to be a real character, more just like a placeholder until the canon caught up. But as the months went on, it looked more and more like Mattel wasn't going to give her to us. We were shown the school's outsets, they even introduced Abby and Spectra, who were at that point kind of random characters, so it didn't look like they were going to give us any characters that they'd previously mentioned, like Operetta or Howlin'. And then just more of the classroom sets and the Dead Tired sets. It just looked like they weren't going to show us Operetta. But also, while all that was going on, Operetta started to develop into her own character in a wonderful story penned by my friend, Bones of a Lovely Doll, of which I started to pen a companion to, so that even allowed me to develop Operetta even further. And she started to get her own personality. Sometime in March, she was given the nickname of Rika because Bones and I were joking around making book canon versions of her OC since she was entertaining the idea of doing a book canon fanfic. And personally, I don't follow the book canon, but I played along because I thought it was fun. And so when I created the book canon version of my operetta, she was named Erica Weber, and she was just a human. I didn't really develop that because, like I said, I don't follow the book canon, but the nickname Rika stuck. To me, it felt a lot like Eula, which didn't seem to be part of Draculara very much. So she just became Rika, and it was just easier to call her that. From the beginning, I had always envisioned her as a closet pop star wannabe because I saw her father as a really strict classical teacher. And actually, for April Fool's Day, I gave her the persona Gaga Rika because my doll can actually change wigs. And I had this other live wig that I liked, so I put it on her, I dressed her up, and she became Gaga Rika. I felt that the closet pop star thing helped develop her character better and added to explain her usual cold demeanor she sometimes had towards others, since she was trying to hide half herself. But again, I just make this point to show that she was developing into her own strong character. She wasn't just a filler OC anymore, she was becoming her own person. Then around the time that the School's Out journals started to be leaked, we saw more news about Operetta. And admittedly, I freaked out. I'm not very proud of the squealy fangirl freak attack I had, because the way that she was being portrayed seemed to contradict everything I'd envisioned about her. So, yeah, I did the newbie boob thing and started to deny the canon. But after, like, a day, I calmed down, and I just decided I'd just keep going with my Rika, and when and if the canon operetta ever showed up, I'd just deal with it when it happened. I like to go with the flow, you could say. Yeah, that sounded dorky, I know. Then in October, Mattel finally came through and presented us with a face for Operetta. And boy, was there a major uproar in the fandom. I saw people ranting and raving every left and right. However, I was not one of those people, believe it or not. Heck, the moment I saw her, I freaked out and started bouncing like a happy Mexican jumping bean, because I thought she was really cool looking and I wanted to tell people. But I couldn't because I wasn't home. At the time, I was at my neighbor's because I had been babysitting. And so I'm telling him all about it, and he's like, that's nice. Go home now. So I went home. But there was, like, no one there, so I had to wait an hour for my mom to show up. And then I started to babble to her all incoherently about it. And when I was done, she was all like, that's nice, now go away. I am a total dork. I admit that every time. And I'm not ashamed of it. But the point of that, really, is I liked her, and I liked the character that they were giving for her. However, as I stated over and over, like everywhere, I don't feel she fits the operetta name. I was not angry when she was revealed, as I've seen some YouTube commenters say on the Monster Hide Sewed pages. Yes, I actually do go through those, and I went and corrected all the people's comments. I do have a YouTube, as well this video proves. But I actually liked her. I liked her southern accent, even though it's really horrible. I liked her persona she was oozing. I liked her. But I wasn't about to throw away my Rika. So I began renaming and rewriting the canon version and calling her Octoretta, because I thought that kind of fit her spider and music theme better. I know it's lame to go and ignore the canon like that and rewrite it, but I am trying to rewrite Octa so she fits more into at least my personal canon without it being that much different from the canon. I actually do think about these things, believe it or not. Not all fangirls are mindless. But, in any case, Octa and Rika are actually two very different characters, both physically and personality-wise. Yes, they are both meant to be daughters of the Phantom of the Opera. Yes, they both have warm-toned hair. Yes, they're both purple-themed. Yes, they both have a beauty mark. And as somebody once pointed out to me, if you look at their coloring, Octa almost looks like an invert of Rika's. which is a little creepy, but that might just be reading into it too much. But when you look at them personality-wise, they are both very different. Rika was raised to be a formal classical lady, to sing classical opera in very high soprano, and she actually is French. Canonically speaking, Octa was raised in New Orleans and then Mississippi, and she's a full-on rockabilly Southern girl. Actually, I like to attribute her to like a biker gal, but that's me. Yes, and both of Octa's parents were French, but they moved here, and so she really isn't French. Whereas Rika still is French, even though she lives here. And Rika's parents, actually, are Erik and Magdalena Defoe, but she was only raised by her father, whereas Octa was raised by both of her parents, as far as we know. Then, Octa's full name is actually just Operetta, while Rika's full name is Operetta Defoe Phantom. Both her and my portrayal of Erik both have a D before Phantom, but whereas Rika stands for Defoe, Erik's actually stands for Dessler, but that's just thingy. And then we get to the relations with other characters, even canon characters. Spectre and Octa don't seem to get along, while Spectre and Rika do. I know, my fandom, I can have everyone love her if I was stupid like that. But when you compare their personalities, Rika seemed to clash less with Spectre's than Octa's does. So it is plausible that that could happen. Octa seems to have no problem getting physical with anyone she feels wronged her. She'll get in your face about it, so you know that you wronged her and she got you back for it. Rika, on the other hand, would do it more slowly and venomously, going behind your back to get even, possibly to the point where you'd never even know that she did it. I wanted to take that sneaky aspect of the Phantom for Rika, while Octa seems to be missing that, in my opinion. Both girls, though very obviously coming from the same source idea, are actually two very different characters. So really, I don't feel that Mattel took anything of my Rika to apply to their Octa. So, I guess that's it. Long rant is actually very long. I typed all this up and it was like 4 pages long. I talk too much online, not in real life. I'm a wallflower. But, you don't care about that. So, I hope this video didn't put anyone off. I am actually very happy that so many people like my Rika and thought of her when Octa was revealed, and that people still continue to look at my Rika and like her, even though we have a canon Operetta now. But, yeah, it is kind of tiring to repeat this every single time someone comments on one of my pictures of Rika, going, "Did Mattel take your idea?" or "You copy Mattel, you bad." I know, people will still do it even after this, but at least now I can stop repeating myself. You can repeat me instead by hitting the play again button. So, I guess that's it. Thanks for suffering through this ramble of mine, and happy almost Halloween interwebs, peoples.